Deadly floods in southern Africa have claimed lives, displaced thousands of people and swept away roads. Aid agencies warn of a double crisis as the region enters its annual cyclone season. Let's take a look at the countries that have been affected. Since October, seasonal heavy rains have flooded parts of Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi and Madagascar, killing hundreds of people. Now, Mozambique is the hardest hit, and the country's National Disasters Management Institute says that by January 20th, more than 500,000 people in 4 provinces have been affected by floods, with 91,000 people displaced and over 78,000 of them taking refuge in overcrowded shelters after their homes were damaged. The government has issued a countrywide red alert warning as more rainfall is forecast.
The big challenge we have is to tell people to leave. Today, in particular, we are telling people to leave their homes. We are working with the army force here. We have the commander, our partner. There is zero tolerance for those people who are in the danger zone. They live voluntarily, or the government with the defense force, will take them out by force, because the alert is red.
I'm scared to cross here. We want to go home. Since the day before yesterday, we have been stuck on this side. We want to cross to get home. We have decided to take the risk.
Neighboring South Africa has declared torrential rains and floods a national disaster. Hundreds of people have been killed or are reported missing. Parts of Kruger National Park have been closed after several rivers there burst their banks. Now, the northeastern Limpopo province estimates that so far there's been damage of about $240 million so far. Residents of Mpumalanga, another province that has been flooded, blame most of the damage on poor drainage.
We need it to stop raining so the municipality can come and assist with the flooding. They can even create new channels for the water to run through.
Rain and floods have also killed dozens of people in Zimbabwe and destroyed over 1,000 homes. Flooding in southeastern Africa linked to climate change has brought heavier rainfall to the Indian Ocean coast. And it's not the only crisis that countries are facing. Now, low rainfall is also a problem that has led to unusual dry conditions in parts of Angola, Madagascar and South Africa. Joining me to talk more about this is Julius Ngoma. He's the National Coordinator, Civil Society Network on Climate Change, who joins me from Lilongwe, Malawi. Thank you for joining us here on Africa Matters. Julius, why are we seeing more frequent and severe floods in Southern Africa? And what can be done to build regional resilience?
Thank you so much. I will just talk on basing on the fact that we have the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports that have been released, periodically over the past few years, and where the recent report is actually talking about the same issues of, going into the future, we are going to be seeing a lot of, climate change related impacts, and which are going to be increasing in magnitude, but also intensity, and new other hazards and risks are going to be, emerging, but also multiplying. So this doesn't really take out the issue of, flooding to be isolated. This is an indicator that climate change and global warming is having its impact on our on the weather, but also influencing the rain patterns in the region. And this is something that we are seeing now that we having huge flooding events in Southern Africa, Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and we are actually struggling. The people are struggling to actually manage these events, and we need cooperation among the governments within the SADC region and others that are near the SADC region to come together.
And Julius, it's good you're talking about reports being released after, severe weather incidents have happened. And you've also talked about the latest report and how SADC can come in. So then how can these reports help? Because report is released, what can be done? And it looks like the African governments of these affected countries are not doing much. So, the climate factors, what should be the concern of these African governments?
Yeah, I think these reports are very, very relevant. These are scientifically generated reports by top scientists in the world that are actually chosen by governments themselves. So I think it's time that the government starts to listen to their own, scientists in terms of ensuring that they make laws and policies that are, really making an impact on the ground. Otherwise, if we want to just create these institutions, IPCC, and then they give us the reports and the recommendations, but we don't want to make use of them in terms of planning for our own national interventions in terms of climate change, but also disaster risk management, building, climate resilient infrastructure. All these have to be informed by the current science, which is being generated, but also developed, but also advocated by the scientists that we have.
All right, so then how is the region's preparedness, for the climate shocks like, floods, droughts, and a cyclone? And which countries are getting it right?
Our preparedness is really something that we need to do something about. I think we need to step up. We, with the current science, as I already indicated, I think we cannot be doing business as usual. We need tailor-made solutions that can actually help to address some of these challenges, especially that are coming as a result of, amplified hazards, but also risk from the threat of climate change. Because without that, then I think we are going to even have more and more, people and regions and areas vulnerable, because as we are having also to experience these kind of, events year in, year out, it means our vulnerabilities are increasing. The region is even getting more vulnerable.
Julius, just from your statement, it brings out the point of, most of the response that's being given by these African governments of the affected country. It looks like it's more reactive than, what they anticipate. So extreme weather also wipes out livestock and food crops. Let me just pick your mind on this. What is it being done and can be done to ensure that, to reduce the risk and aid recovery?
We are in a reactive mode. This is something that we've actually, been speaking against for the last couple of years as practitioners on the ground dealing with the issue of climate change, but also disaster risk management. We know what we are facing. We know what we are supposed to do now. We know the science is there. It's now time that we have to be able to make use of the information that we have that is being generated, information that should help us to now be proactive in terms of how we want to anticipate some of these, challenges, but also put already in place measures.
And so do African countries have policies or, using early warning systems and building infrastructure that can actually withstand a severe weather?
It's important that we make use of such policies, but this is now also the opportune time for us to start reviewing those policies, see what is relevant, see where the gaps are, and ensure that we build on policies and strategies and even structures on the ground that can actually really respond not only when a disaster is there, but also help the country and the region to anticipate such challenges, especially those that are resulting from climate change.
Right, and talking about strategies right there, then what natural disaster management strategies work, in the African context, and how can governments help people recover the long-term effects?
I think since we are building, the science is still coming on up. We are yet to actually get more and more scientific, revolutions within the African continent. I think we've seen more of research being done, but also not much speaking to what terms the government would want to use so that we are able to put in place structures. So we should also learn from the history. We should learn from the indigenous people. We should learn from the indigenous knowledge that is on the ground. We have more of such knowledge on the ground that can even feed into what we can also do as a region on the ground to be able to manage certain situations locally, while we're also looking at what regional strategies can be done. We must commend that I think we've done a lot in terms of ensuring that we as a region, for example, we put up the infrastructure for climate information, which I think year in, year out, we get all sorts of projections for the season. The season forecasts are being generated, but also updated every now and then. But what then? The question should be, how best do we want to use that kind of seasonal forecast to also be able to generate our own locally, relevant solutions to address some of the challenges in particular regions. So I think that's what I can say on this. We just need to that kind of, hands-on. If the government can also come in with more resources, that will also mean something in terms of ensuring that we invest in the area of, for example, early warning systems, but also building climate resilient infrastructure.
All right, Julius Ngoma, thank you for talking to us here on Africa Matters. He's the National Coordinator, Civil Society Network on Climate Change. He was talking to us from Lilongwe, Malawi. Still to come here on Africa Matters.
I am Maimuna Ba. I'll bring you a story of how a new U.S. policy is leaving families across the Gambia separated, waiting and uncertain about their future.
My name is Victoria Amunga, and I'll show you how these teenage mothers in Kenya are using their trade to earn a living.
To the Gambia now, where long-term U.S. visa applicants will have to wait even longer to join their families. It's one of 75 countries that the Trump administration has stopped processing immigration visas for. Many who have waited years and invested thousands of dollars now face uncertainty as legal routes to unite with loved ones are blocked. Maimuna Ba tells us more from the capital, Banjul.
For years, Mohammed has worked towards getting a visa to join his wife in the United States. But new policy there has crushed that dream.
I have been married for 10 years, and my wife is in the U.S. waiting for me. I followed every step, submitting forms, attending interviews, paying fees, hoping to finally be with her. But now, the process is frozen. My interview cancelled, and I don't know when I will see her again. All I want is to be with my wife and rebuild our life together. But it feels like my future is in someone else's hands.
The suspension comes under expanded public charge rules aimed at preventing migrants who are likely to rely on government assistance.
Families from 75 countries globally, including the Gambia, are now facing indefinite delays under the new policy. This is addition to partial visa restrictions that came into force at the beginning of this year that suspended the issue of new business, tourism, student visa, with just a very few exceptions.
The decision has left many devastated.
Some of them cry a lot. Some of them call me on the phone. Some of them lose hope. I had about 4 clients. I cannot call their name for a certain reason. The way they react to this, they have to go through the back way. One of them called me like, let me use it. Since US is not giving me the opportunity, maybe I have to go through by the sea. Ever since I did not heard from them, and which is very, very sad.
The Trump administration been tightening immigration controls during his second term by expanding travel bans, adopting stricter visa policies and screening of applicants. Officials cite high visa overstay rates, unreliable civil records, corruption, terrorist or criminal activity, and refusal by some countries to accept deported nationals.
Yes, we can point fingers and we can say it's not fair, but in the end of the day, it's their prerogative, it's their right. They're entitled to do it. It's legal for them to do it. So I think we also just need to look at what we can control, and what we can control right now is strengthening our system, is strengthening our partnerships, is strengthening South-to-South cooperation, is strengthening the relationship that we have with countries that want to partner up with other countries that want to welcome us.
Be that as it may, for Mohammed and thousands of Gambian families, a decision made in Washington has plunged their lives into indefinite uncertainty. Maimuna Ba, Africa Matters, Banjul, The Gambia.
Well, thousands of Makoko residents are also facing an uncertain future. Authorities in the Nigerian megacity of Lagos argue that they are demolishing structures in the informal settlement that are too close to power lines. But the people living there say the ongoing demolition is leaving them homeless, as Hilary Noruka found out when he visited the floating community.
Elizabeth Oke sifts through the wreckage of what was her home a few days ago, hoping to find something familiar. She is one of thousands displaced after government bulldozers brought down at least 500 homes in Makoko, a sprawling, informal waterfront settlement in Nigeria, built on silts over the Lagos Lagoon.
We were preparing smoked fish that day when we saw the bulldozers approach. It became chaotic as people ran helter-skelter. They destroyed our homes and shot tear gas into the air to prevent us from resisting their action.
Residents say nearly a dozen people were also tear-gassed to death. Makoko has become infamous as a tightly packed settlement of wooden homes standing on stilts above polluted water, where there is no proper sanitation or waste collection. It doesn't fit Lagos's urban renewal plan. Yet for generations of fishing families, this settlement has also been home.
For more than 20 years, the government has tried to move the residents of Makoko several times. Each time, it has been unsuccessful. The fishing community wants to be close to its source of livelihood and says the government has yet to show proof of a suitable relocation site.
Nigerian authorities deny that the demolitions are a new ploy to evacuate the people. They say the structures brought down were illegal and that the community was expanding too close to high-tension power lines.
From the shoreline, about 250 meters, that's what the national standard is. But Lagos State government said, okay, 150. At a point, we even said 100. But the residents, they said, no, they should bring it down to 50. So there was an agreement that they would do 100.
The government has so far pushed beyond 100 meters, citing the residents' safety.
This has nothing to do with power line. It has nothing to do fundamentally, essentially with safety or safeguards. It's about dispossession of the poor.
Okay, and many like her are now homeless, uncertain where they will call home or how they will feed their families. As Lagos pushes ahead with its vision of a modern megacity, Makoko's residents fear they are being erased from its future. Hilary Noruka, Africa Matters, Makoko, Lagos.
To Kenya next, where hundreds of teenage mothers are often forced to abandon their education, trapping them in cycles of poverty. But a group of them is breaking the pattern and challenging gender exclusion through skills training and taking up jobs in male-dominated fields. Victoria Amunga has more from the capital, Nairobi.
In Nairobi's industrial area, in this garage where Elizabeth Ombura is putting her skills to use, Ombura says her dream to become a doctor was shattered when she became pregnant after high school and when she was 19 years old. In 2024, she enrolled in craft skills training as an auto mechanic, and Ombura's trade is helping her regain financial independence.
For now, it is helping me to buy food at home and for the clothes of the baby and for the daycare too.
At least 50 other teenage mothers like her from the informal settlements have been trained in various trades such as electrical work. Although the careers tend to pay more, they are usually inaccessible to young women because of stereotypes and stigma.
We're not taking them to classrooms per se, but we're taking them so that they can go and work in a workshop. So we have to take them through work readiness training where we train them on financial literacy, business skills, life skill development.
A 2025 study by Kenya's National Gender and Equality Commission shows that girls in at least 30% of schools in Kenya stop their education because of teenage pregnancy. Other social challenges like menstruation-related absenteeism hinder consistent schooling. To meet the challenge, the state has launched programs that support teenage mothers' return to school, dubbed Second Chance. Under the program, officials say teen moms access bursaries and mentorship. In addition, initiatives to help prevent teenage pregnancies have been rolled out.
So we give sanitary towels to girls in public primary schools, all nationally. It's actually a national program because there's an interlinkage between teenage pregnancy and lack of sanitary towels. So that is preventive. We have programs on awareness creation on issues of eliminating GBV. So we do community awareness, which include a special program called Male Engagement and Inclusion.
For many girls like Ombura, early motherhood narrows their life choices, often pushing them into patterns of hardship because unemployment continues to challenge Kenyan youth and the situation gets worse for teen moms who drop out of school. But by learning a trade, teenage mothers can access different job markets to earn a living. Victoria Amunga, Africa Matters, Nairobi, Kenya.
The Senegalese national side have received a hero's welcome after being crowned AFCON football champions. They beat host Morocco, which is threatening legal action over a chaotic end to the Africa Cup of Nations final. They believe Senegal's walk-off affected the game's outcome. Samson Omale wraps it up from Rabat.
Many believe the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations was one of the most well-organized in recent history. Yet, debates over poor officiating and reported VAR malfunctions dented the tournament, particularly in the final. Confederation of African Football says officiating standards remain a work in progress.
The CAF president and the CAF leadership is paying particular attention to the standard of refereeing. We have to always ensure that it's world class. And whatever that it might be, whenever there are challenges, we have to find ways to correct these challenges.
AFCON is traditionally known for its vibrant atmosphere, driven by passionate fans who light up stadiums and city streets with colorful flags and costumes.
I'm coming from France to see this match. I'm very, very, very happy, and it's very nice here.
The most beautiful is this. You can see Morocco now is ready for World Cup, you understand?
It's so unique in such a way that this is where we get the recognition all over the world. It's so unique in such a way that we try to exchange the culture amongst ourselves in Africa.
Present and past AFCON stars describes the Africa Cup of Nations as the ultimate dream for every African footballer.
If I say focus, is really, really focused, because AFCON is not only easy competition.
The African Cup of Nations has become a global showcase for African talents. It also affords countries who choose to host a tournament an opportunity to upgrade their sporting facilities and infrastructure, thereby improving the growth of sports across the continent. Despite a final that many say was not played in the spirit of football, this edition of AFCON will be remembered for several historic milestones. Samson Omale, Africa Matters, Rabat, Morocco.
We head to southeastern Senegal now, where rare chimpanzees are living far from the dense rainforest they are usually associated with and have developed remarkable ways to survive in the dry savannah. Mikhail Malik has more.
A cacophony of chimps crashing through Senegal's savannah on the hunt for baobab fruit. But these Fongoli chimpanzees are not your typical primates.
So the thing about the Fongoli chimps is that they live in a savanna landscape, and until they were habituated to observers so we could follow them around and take data, we only knew chimpanzees from forested areas. And so in Senegal, all the chimpanzees live in a savanna, and they actually have really different behaviors than chimps that live in forests.
They are forced to travel for long distances in search of food and to cope with high temperatures of up to 49 degrees as they seek refuge in caves. resting during the hottest part of the day, while also taking dips in natural pools.
Follow them, hopefully all day long.
Primatologist Jill Pruitts has been tracking the chimps for 25 years.
And probably one of the biggest surprises was that we found that these chimps actually make tools to hunt, and they hunt another little primate called a bush baby or galago, and they make a stick tool to hunt this galago, and it's actually the females that hunt more than the males. And that was also a surprise because usually in chimpanzees it's the males that hunt more than females.
But the gold rush, which led to an expansion of artisanal mining and human settlements along with farming, is threatening the chimps' unique way of life and their already fragile habitat.
It is an irrational exploitation of all kinds of natural resources. This can include mineral resources, wildlife or plant life. But there is an irrational, uncontrolled exploitation in the area that is putting the conservation of biodiversity at risk and also threatening our well-being.
For now, Senegal's savannah chimps, which can live up to 50 years, are both a reminder of nature's resilience and its vulnerability. Mikhail Malik, Africa Matters.
That's our show this week. Let us know how the floods have affected you and what can be done, or leave your comment on any other stories you've seen on our Africa Matters YouTube page or on X. Thanks for watching, and it's goodbye from me, Brenda Zeda Radido.